This is Andy Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm delighted to be joined by David Diamante here in Milton Keynes. David, first and foremost, how are you doing?
Doing great, Andy. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you giving up some time today. Obviously, we're here in Milton Keynes. I know you like to do a bit of travelling. We just had a little chat off camera there. Have you ever been down to this part of the UK before?
No, been through Milton Keynes, but never stayed here. So first time, and the stadium's great. You know, we're here at the stadium of the MK Dons, so it's a nice site. We're going to be in the Marshall Arena, so it should work great.
There's obviously been a lot which has happened since we last spoke. We're here ahead of the Buatsi-Yarde card this coming Sunday or tomorrow night. But the main kind of news that broke yesterday, we saw Eddie Hearn, a couple of days ago, Eddie Hearn testing positive for COVID-19. David, just first and foremost, what was your kind of reaction to hearing that news?
Well, it's very upsetting, obviously. You know, I mean, Eddie's a really important part of the operation, to say the least, and he's our fearless leader, and we wish him the very best. So I texted him. I think he's doing okay, but you know, I hope that him and his family are doing all right.
Moving forwards, obviously, onto the card itself. Buatsi challenge. Everybody excited to see Josh Buatsi back in the ring. Been over a year now. What are you expecting to see from Josh, though, and what should we expect in that bout?
Well, I think Challenge is a good challenger. He's an undefeated fighter, and sorry, little Darren Barker off camera there. Joshua Buatsi is just an absolute phenom. You know. The light heavyweight division is a really tough division right now. He's obviously the WBA international champion. He'll be making his 5th defense of the title. So it's just great to see him back. He's been off for over a year, so got to get him back in the ring. I know everyone's talking about a big fight with Haney-Gamboa, but it'd be great to see what he has against Challenge. So Marko Challenge is a tough fighter, so tough Croatian.
You mentioned the Haney-Gamboa fight. A lot of people are looking towards that one or Callum Johnson fight. Say if we was to see Buatsi versus Yarde or Buatsi-Johnson certainly say towards the end of this year, what are your thoughts on either of those fights?
I mean, they're mouth-watering. They're great fights, both of them. I'm a huge fan of Callum Johnson. Obviously, Haney-Gamboa, top talent also. So these are the new guys coming up in the division, and you got so many other great guys at the top right now. It's a great division, light heavyweight.
We also have some world title action on the card this coming tomorrow night again, this coming Sunday. Chantelle versus Adriana Araujo. What do you make of that fight? And obviously Chantelle, she's been waiting a long time for this opportunity. Are you fully expecting her to take it with both hands?
I think so. I mean, this is another Nixon-Nil fight, so both fighters undefeated. Araujo is very tough. She, Olympic bronze medalist in 2012. But Chan, she's a really tough fighter also. I did some of her first fights when she was back with Cyclone, and I got to see her up close back then, and she was really driven, and I just think she's upped her game. So it's very exciting that she's going to get this title shot. So I think the fans are in for a treat for that fight.
Alan Babich returning to the UK shore as well. Everybody's excited to see Alan, the savage, his persona. What have you made of kind of the way that the boxing world has taken to Alan, and certainly how he's got this unique character that everybody seems to have grown very accustomed and fond of?
It's hard not to like the Savage. I mean, he's an exciting fighter. He's got his alter ego, you know, the Savage. Outside the ring, he's an absolute, gentleman, but in the ring, he's the Savage. He's got a tough test himself. He's fighting Niall Kennedy, and he's an Irish fighter. He is actually the New England and Massachusetts state champion. He's also the ABA Americas champion, 4-time Irish national champion. Niall's very tough. I did one of his fights years ago. Actually, it was about 3 years, almost to the day. He fought, I think it was Alexis Santos, and he won that fight. And Santos was tough, man. So Niall's a tough fighter. I'm looking forward to this fight. Actually, I think it should be good, a good tear-up.
A lot of people kind of excited to see what Alan Babich can go on to do with his career. I know it's very early doors as of yet, but after his last performance against Shawndell Winters, after fight, he's calling out his fellow Croatian, Filip Hrgović. Do you feel Alan's ready for that type of fight, provided tomorrow night was to go to plan for him, or do you think he's still got a bit more work to do until he gets to a name such as Filip's?
Oh, absolutely. He's got more work to do. I think he looks great right now where he's at, but there are levels to it, and he needs to get seasoned a little bit more. But he's looking good right now. So we'll see what happens tomorrow night. Again, you can't overlook any of these guys. And Niall Kennedy is coming to win. He was trained by Packy Collins, and those guys are coming to win.
Got the Baker-Fiaz fight, it's finally on, provided obviously fighters make weight today, when this goes out a bit after the weigh-in, but yeah, Baker-Fiaz, again, just your thoughts on that, David. Do you feel the extra kind of needle, given what happened last time, could come out in the fight, and we may well see them kind of stand and trade a lot more than what was expected when the fight was previously announced?
I do. I think Kane Baker was gutted when he couldn't fight in Eddie's backyard, and he was really upset about that. So he's been talking a lot of smack, and Fiaz doesn't like that. You know, he's young on the come up, and he needs to make a statement too. So this is the grudge match. So man, it's going to be a good one. We didn't have it in Eddie's backyard, but we're going to get it right here in MK.
Another fight which is kind of built up over the timing since it's been announced is the Udofia versus Harding Jr5. What are you expecting from that one, David?
That's a really interesting fight. I love that we're kicking off with that fight. I mean, Pest, John Harding Jr., you know, his nickname is Pest. Tough guy. Obviously, you know, he did jail time and he came from Brixton. He's got this hard backstory, but he's a really lovely guy, and he trains so hard. He, you know, trains at a Dillian White's camp. And that fight he had with Jack Cullen, his first attempt at the English title, it was really tough. I mean, you know, I just feel like he was having a hard time getting on the inside. Cullen is so tough. He's really long. He's got that reach, and Harding had a very tough time with that. But I think he learned a lot from that fight. He showed his heart. I mean, he's got heart for days. But Linus is a really tough fighter too, and he believes in himself. He's holding the title, and he said it. You know, like, he's just here to defend it. You've got to come get it. So that's going to be a great opening bout for the card.
I just want to quickly touch on a few fights which have kind of been announced recently. Yesterday, Matchroom USA announced Jacobs Rosado's one fight. I mean, Haney-Gamboa. Start off with Haney-Gamboa. What are your thoughts on that matchup?
You know, yeah, I mean, we'll check it out. You know, I mean, Haney's got to stay busy. You know, Gamboa at one time was a top talent, but you know, we'll see what happens in that fight. As far as the other fight, Rosado Jacobs. You know, I think we'd like to think that Jacobs is a level above Rosado, but Rosado, if you look at his resume, I mean, it's literally a who's who. I mean, he's fought everybody. So he's really kind of like a true blood and guts warrior, you know, in the vein of an Arturo Gatti. He just goes in there, he'll fight anybody. So I can guarantee you, Gabe Rosado is going to bring everything because he's a Philly fighter, true Philly heart, and he's going to bring it. But Danny's Brooklyn, so there you go. It's a good matchup.
A lot of people as well getting hyped and ready for that Vasil Lomachenko-Teofimo Lopez bout, undisputed lightweight title fight. How do you see that one playing out, David? A lot of people kind of edging towards Vasil, obviously naturally brilliant fighter, brilliant amateur record, and obviously holding 3 of the titles. But Teofimo can't be overlooked, a very strong fighter and powerful fighter at the weight. What do you make of it?
That's an incredible fight. Cannot wait to see it. One of the best matchups of the year for sure. You know, it's easy to say Lomachenko, but it's really not, because Teofimo's a young bull, and especially at 135, he's a monster, man. I mean, he walks around at a much higher weight. And also Lomachenko, you know, he's better at lower weights. I don't think he carries his power up to lightweight so well. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. And Teofimo made pretty quick work of Richard Comey. It's an incredible fight. I think also Lomachenko coming off of surgery, he's getting a little bit older. So, you know, the different ways to look at that fight, but it is a great fight. Cannot wait for that.
David, we'll leave that there because I believe we're getting ever closer to the press conference, perhaps to the weigh-in starting rather. David, it's been a pleasure to catch up with you. I'm sure I'll speak to you later in the week. Thank you for speaking to Boxing Social.
Thanks a lot, Andy. Talk soon.